bring the news to you right here on this station. Stay with us as we make our way into this newscast for this particular morning. We want to say to you from where you are listening this morning that we are more than grateful to have you on board with us. And we look forward to you staying the course with us right here on NRP Radio. This is a station that you want to log on to and to also stay with 24 hours per day. Eh? Yes, we look forward to having you around and being on our team as well. We've got music and we've got features and all geared towards uh, you, the listening audience. And so we are saying to you, stay with us on board and keep supporting us as we move forward and spread the news to those who we touch base with on a regular basis so that they can continue to join us on a regular basis as we reach you where you are. As we say around here, no boundaries, no limitations. Let's get into the newscast now. Good morning and welcome to our platforms, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at nrpmediaja. It's Monday, February 12th, 2024. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Break of Day newscast for today. Here are the headlines. 720 housing solutions to be built in southern Trelawney, says Prime Minister Holness. Councillor candidate for the Moku division in Clarendon, Romaine Morris, hits back at the Jamaica Labour Party or the JLP's claim that he was expelled. Citizens urged to conduct fire drills during nights as well as daytime. Fatal accident in Manchester. And in sport, England spinner Jack Leach has been ruled out of the remainder of the Test tour of India with a knee problem. The news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
NRP Media and Radio.
The most listened to radio show on the planet. You and the other stations are tuned in too.
Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced that 720 new housing solutions will be built in southern Trelawney to cater primarily to persons currently employed and those hoping to gain employment in the tourism sector. The Prime Minister made the disclosure on the weekend while touring Clarkstown, a section of the parish. According to the Prime Minister, the housing solutions will be done under the auspices of the Housing Agency of Jamaica. Speaking from a vehicle, the Prime Minister spoke to a large crowd of persons who were gathered in the town square of Clarkstown on the weekend.
We will be breaking ground for that this year. In fact, in another couple of months. Now, when those houses are finished, you're going to have an influx of new people coming into your area, in addition to the people who live in the area who will get some of those houses. So the population around here is going to increase a little bit. What it means is that people who own shop space in this area, going to see an increase in their business.
And the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, assured the residents of Clarkstown that the development will be successful as there are significant lands owned by the government on which housing developments can take place in the area.
We have significant lands available around Clarkstown. What we plan to do is to do area. Why is it that we need to do that? On the coast, we see the Rio Hotel, brand new big hotel going up. In Harmony Cove, another major hotel development is coming, over $1 billion with 1,000 rooms. We want to start that this year as well. When that built, where will the people get housing from? Who going work here? We have to build the housing at these places. The people from here go and get work here. So a lot of development is going to be centered around the town here called Clarkstown.
And meanwhile, the Prime Minister says under the government's rural development program, other amenities for comfortable living for the residents will be put in place.
When we talk about rural development, we are talking about giving people the opportunity to live in the community that they choose to. It don't have to be a town or a city, but they must still have the same amenities and comfortable living. So we understand that. And so what we do, we bring some housing, we're going to bring the road, and we're going to improve the water. So you can live comfortably here and drive or take bus or taxi to where you work. That is what we are doing in developing your community.
Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness. In other news now, councillor candidate for the Mokashin in Clarendon, Romaine Morris, has dismissed a release from the Jamaica Labour Party listing him as being expelled subsequent to his nomination as a PNP candidate. Calling the release a desperate attempt to impede the momentum gained by the PNP in the division, Councillor Morris pointed out that he resigned from the chairmanship of the Moko division and the JLP at least 1 month prior to the calling of the elections, and as such was not nominated on a JLP ticket. Mr. Morris said his resignation was with immediate effect. Councillor Morris said it was surprising to learn that the JLP claimed he was expelled from the organization when he would have resigned prior to taking his seat in the Clarendon Municipal Corporation on the opposition side. He said that the release from the JLP was inaccurate and was a political ploy seeking to cause confusion and smear his character. Mr. Morris and his team are urging the media to be detailed in reporting, as many media houses obtained a copy of his resignation and reported on same. Meanwhile, campaign director for North Central Clarendon and MP candidate for that should be MP candidate Dr. Ogier Dixon said he expects to see many more lies and half-truths being spewed over the next few days as the groundswell continues for his candidacy or his candidates in North Central Clarendon. Dr. Dixon states that internal polling has confirmed the rising support being seen on the ground and that he expects the support to grow even stronger going into the local government elections and continue beyond February 2020. That should be February 26. Members of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise sector are being invited to participate in the national MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy Consultation at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston on February 20. To be hosted by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, alongside several key stakeholders, the session will facilitate the revision and crafting of the draft green paper to ensure that the policy reflects and includes new and emerging trends. These include, but are not limited to, the need for increased digitization and digitalization, inclusion of marginalized groups such as women, youth, and persons with disabilities, as well as continued access to finance and emerging trends around the orange, blue, and green economies. The consultation will take place from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. with presentations by Portfolio Minister Senator Auburn Hill, representatives from the Planning Institute of Jamaica, and others. Also on that day, the ministry will be staging its business pitch competition where participating MSMEs will have a chance to win up to $300,000. Eligible entities must be in operation for 2 years or more and earn $50 million or less in annual revenue sales turnover, have a 5 or less employees, and are scalable. In addition to the monetary prize, the participating entities will have the opportunity to benefit from access to business development support and potential enrollment in the Export Maximum program, among other things. Registration for the competition is now open and will close on Thursday, February 15. Citizens are being encouraged to practice drills to ensure a safe evacuation from buildings in the event of a fire. Addressing a recent JIS think tank, JFB Commissioner Stuart Beckford said that conducting regular fire drills is very important, especially within the home. He says drills should not be practiced in the day, but also at nights, as most fire related deaths occur in the night. The Jamaica Fire Brigade Commissioner also noted that many of those deaths are a result of persons being disoriented. He advised the families to implement an emergency plan and to ensure that every member of the household is aware of what to do. The commissioner indicated that the plan should include the assembly point so that persons know where to go when they evacuate the house. He stressed that once persons evacuate a burning building, they should not re enter. He said that you should go to your assembly point, and the first thing you should do is to call your nearest fire station and stay away from that building. You're listening to news on NRP Radio. It's now 6:46. Investigators assigned to the Manchester Police Division are probing the circumstances surrounding a fatal collision that claimed the life of 41-year-old Kemal Witter, a chef of Precious Plain, Manchester, and the injury of another man on Davy Crescent Alligator Pond in the parish on Saturday. Reports from the Alligator Pond police are that about 9 p.m., Witter was driving a Jamco motorcycle along the roadway, and on reaching a section of the roadway, he collided with another motorcycle that was heading in a separate direction. Both drivers sustained multiple injuries and were taken to hospital, where Witter was pronounced dead, and the driver of the motorcycle was admitted in critical condition. In other news, the Area 3 Narcotics Division seized over 1,200 pounds of ganja during a snap operation in Little Park District in St. Elizabeth on Saturday as well. Reports are that between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., lawmen carried out an operation in the area. Upon their approach, 4 men ran from the site and escaped in bushes. The ganja was seized and destroyed. The illicit drug has an estimated street value of $12 million. No arrest was made in relation to that seizure. And 2 men were charged with breaches under the Dangerous Drugs Act by the Narcotics Division in relation to an incident that occurred at the Norman Manley International Airport also on Thursday, February 8th, last week. They are 30-year-old Artnell Grant, a ramp attendant of a Kingston 5 address, and a 32-year-old Christopher Cummings, also a ramp attendant of Yallis St. Thomas. Reports are that about 3 p.m., lawmen and members of the Jamaica Customs Contraband Enforcement Team conducted a joint operation at the airport car park. During the operation, 2 men were seen inside a car whose actions aroused their suspicions. They were accosted and searched, along with the vehicle, during which 55 pounds of ganja was found concealed inside a suitcase that was in the trunk of the car. The men were subsequently taken into custody. Following a question and answer session in the presence of their attorneys, both men were charged on Saturday, February 10, with possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, attempting to export ganja, conspiracy to export ganja, possession of criminal property. A court date for them is being finalized. You're listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com. Reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Now let's move on to give you some sporting information brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They are located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston.
Hepburn's Glass Supplies is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 908-0962 or email hepburn.glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass. Quality service is our priority.
And now for our sports stories, let's uh, run off this morning on a very important news story that Dustin Johnson birded. That's in golf. Birded 3 of the last 6 holes to claim the LIV Golf Las Vegas title by 1 spot. Johnson, who is 39 years old, battled cold and windy conditions to top the leaderboard on 12 under for his 3rd LIV title and claim £4 million in prize money. Taylor, coach, and Peter Yulin finished 2nd on 11 under, with Matthew Wolf 1 shot further back. "It's a great win," Johnson said, "and I knew it was going to be tough with the conditions." The 2-time major winner added that, quote, "A lot of really good players were right around the lead, so I knew I was going to have to play well if I wanted to win," unquote. England's Paul Casey, Northern Ireland's Graeme McDowell, and American Jason Kokrak shared 5th place on 8th under, 1 shot ahead of Spain's Ron Ram on his 2nd LIV golf appearance. On cricket, England spinner Jack Leach has been ruled out of the remainder of the Test tour of India with a knee problem. Leach injured his left knee while fielding in England's win in the first Test in Hyderabad. The 32-year-old, who has taken 126 wickets in 36 tests, subsequently missed the 2nd Test in Vizag. He will now fly home, and England currently have no plans to call up a replacement for Leach, with the 3rd Test in Rajkot starting on Thursday. They will instead keep faith with inexperienced spin trio Tom Hartley, Rehan Ahmed, and Shoaib Bashir, plus Joe Root as a 4th spin option for the remainder of the 5-match series. Left arm spinner Leach had only just returned to the side, having missed last summer's Ashes series against Australia with a stress fracture in his back. The Somerset player has endured a series of health and injury issues, which have hampered his England career since he made his debut in April 2018. The series is level now at 1-1 with 3 games to play. On league match information now, as the Portland FA Under-15 continued Portlanders FC with a hat-trick from Malachi Thompson, 6th, 42nd, and 45th minutes defeated Rio United for 6-0, as Wi-Fi United with a brace from Kemar Lay, 56th and 67th minutes over Progressive FC. In the Western Union Major League, Ujama ECC defeated Berrydale CSC 4-0 with a brace from Markion Parks, 34th and 41st minutes, as defending champions Wi-Fi United clipped Progressive FC 1-0 from a Nikoi Hartley 67-minute strike. That's sports in our NRP Break of Day newscast, brought to you by Hepburn's Glass, located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest international news, courtesy of the Voice of America.
This is VOA News. I'm Tommy McNeil. AP Washington correspondent Saga Mergani reports Pentagon Chief Floyd Austin transferred power to his deputy after announcing hospitalization. Meanwhile, Egypt has threatened to suspend its peace treaty with Israel if Israeli forces enter the town of Rafah and Gaza. AP correspondent Rika Ann Garcia.
Stop its peace treaty with Israel and says that a ground operation in Rafah could force the closure of its crossing, cutting off one of the only avenues for delivering essential supplies. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a recent statement that sending troops into Rafah was necessary to win the war against Hamas. This plan poses a threat to the agreement between Egypt and Israel. Egypt to stop a tide of people fleeing into the Sinai Peninsula. Rafah, originally home to around 300,000 people, has taken in roughly 1/4 who have fled conflict in other areas, resulting in severe overcrowding. I'm Rika Ann Garcia.
AP correspondent Karen Chalmers reports on an Israeli military operation in Gaza.
Israeli forces have rescued 2 hostages in southern Gaza in a raid that killed over 60 Palestinians. The Israeli military extracted the captives under fire in a dramatic raid after soldiers stormed a heavily guarded apartment. The Israeli military operation took place in densely populated Rafah, where heavy Israeli airstrikes also pounded the area near where the hostages were being held. The rescue of the 2 hostages was celebrated in Israel as a victory. The operation killed well over 60 Palestinians, including women and children, according to Palestinian health officials. I'm Karen Chamas.
More at voanews.com. This is VOA News.
Thank you so much for listening there to the latest from the Voice of America as we bring to you our international news in our news package this morning. Now for the weather report and forecast coming your way right here inside of the NRP Break of Day Newscast. The weather report is up on us right about now. The National Meteorological Service of Jamaica is reporting that there is a significant feature of a ridge across Jamaica. The ridge is expected to remain across Jamaica for the next few days. Expect windy conditions to persist through to tomorrow, especially across southern parishes, due to the presence of a low-level jet stream. In the 24-hour forecast this morning, partly cloudy across eastern parishes, otherwise mainly sunny. Windy along the south coast. This afternoon, expect partly cloudy and windy conditions, especially across southern parishes. Tonight, becoming fair. In the 3-day forecast starting tomorrow, that's Tuesday through Thursday. Tuesday, isolated morning showers across eastern parishes, partly cloudy elsewhere, isolated afternoon showers across hilly areas and western parishes. On Wednesday and Thursday, it will be partly cloudy. In terms of other current regional weather features, there's a cold front across the northwestern Gulf of Mexico, and there's an area of low pressure across Panama. The maximum temperature expected for Kingston and Montego Bay today. For Kingston, 30 degrees Celsius. For Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius. That's our latest weather report and forecast. And with that, we've come to the end of our news presentation for this morning. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. 720 new housing solutions to be built in southern Trelawney, says the Prime Minister. Councillor candidate for the Moco division in Clarendon, Romaine Morris, hits back at JLP claim that he was expelled. Citizens urged to conduct fire drills during nights as well as daytime. Fatal accident in Manchester. And in sports, England spinner Jack Leach has been ruled out of the remainder of the Test tour of India with a knee problem. The full half-an-hour package of news from the NRP the NRP newsroom. It came to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. Here's your invitation to join us again this evening at 6:30 for the NRP Evening News Roundup. On behalf of the entire news and production teams, I am Leon Nash, wishing for you a good rest of your morning. And the word of God in Luke 1:46 and 47 says, "My soul praises the Lord. My heart rejoices in God, my Savior." This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 7 a.m. And the word